Hello, everyone, and welcome to this news episode for September 2025 of What's New in Cloud FinOps with myself, Stephen Old, and my great friend. We are late, we know.
Oh, yeah.
People don't tell us. Holidays, work, life. We record these on Fridays. I was away for 2 Fridays. Frank had done all the work on the 1st of September, so it is entirely my fault. And do you go away next week, did you say, Frank?
Yeah, I am. I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm going to Lake District. So I will be passing near you. That was
You are?
we might at one point when we come back, we need to agree on.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, please do. I'm going Lake District in the new year.
Here we go.
Yeah, I love it. I can't remember. I got Keswick, Kendall, one of them, one of the Ks. I lose track. I just go wherever my wife tells me. And Frank knows.
Yeah, I do the same.
Yeah. Okay, so Frank, we've got some news, and who is it first?
Mine, and it's.
Oh, do you want the noise? Oh, I haven't set up the noises. Hang on, everyone. You can tell this is done very much on the fly. I think it's a transition 2.
There we go. It sounded slightly different, but it might be my headset. So the first one is announcing AWS Outposts third-party storage integration with Dell and HPE. And it's...
Oh, so like you can use a 3-pass SAN with it or something. So if you already have...
Yeah, is that inside, you can have inside an Outpost a Dell hardware. Or an
storage?
Yes.
So you could use an external SAN, a SAN that isn't provided as
I don't know if it's external. I think it's part of the cage that they give you.
Oh, really?
And that was the interesting bit, is we have continued to innovate. And it's third-party storage integration program to include Dell PowerStore and HP Altera Storage MPB 10,000 system, joining our existing NetApp on-premise enterprise storage and Pure Storage. So make easy to customers to use AWS Outposts with third-party storage array for AWS native tooling. The solution integration is particularly important for people migrating, obviously, from VMware to AWS, who need to maintain the existing storage. But for me, what was interesting is you see creeping in at the beginning, AWS was just AWS, and now you see, hey, we have the cloud from NVIDIA, we have a piece of Oracle, now we're adding into Outpost.
So here I think is the important sentence. Now with the addition of Dell and HPE, customers have even more choice in how they integrate their on-premises storage investments with AWS Outposts. Okay. So I think you'll have bought them yourself. It shows me, I imagine 3-pass SANs, which were like all the rage back in when I was in these days, are so out of date now that the Electra Storage MPBP 10,000 is obviously the new name on the block. It is amazing how quickly our knowledge goes out of date of what we used to know about, right? That is interesting, isn't it? I hadn't read your news, which is often the case. I'd only read my news. Yeah, that is an interesting one.
That's fine. But yeah, so that was number one. And it's almost like a new instance and compute. That's why it isn't there. As I say, AWS integrating with others is reasonably... It's an evolution. Let's put it as a trend. The other one is Amazon EC2 Mac instances, M4 and M4 Pro Mac instances. And so I think, so those are new. The interesting bit, so you have the M4 Pros, which are built on M4 Pro Mac Mini. And on the same, they're all based, so all the AWS instances for Mac are based on Mac Mini. And I think who told us that they've created a mechanism that press the power on button and power off button in an automated way, but it is completely manual, robotically manual, which I found absolutely amazing. So yeah, AWS buys Mac Minis like you and I would do. Yoo-hoo! So obviously they are all metal, and that means that now you have Mac M4 Pro, M4, M2 Pro, M2, no M3 anywhere. And
why are they fours? I thought they were trying to get everything back into the same number scheming. Do you know we used to have M4s before, right? We've had M4X.
Yeah, well, but there is Mac M4. So the M4 is the CPU of the Mac.
Oh yes, but they've carried that naming convention on
So
rather
the
than change that naming
M4,
convention.
so it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
the instance is Mac 2, I think. Let me go back. So the
EC2 M4
instance,
Pro Mac instances. It says that's what it looks like. The name title is.
yeah, no, but so it is that
Oh yeah, no, you're
M4,
right. Mac M4 Pro, Mac
exactly,
M4. Yeah,
and is the Mac CPU is
yeah.
called M4, and then you have on top, but it is the Mac instances. So you just have Mac instances, and they just call them. What do they call them? I don't know. They
M4,
call
M2 Pro, M2,
yeah
M1 Ultra. Yeah, yeah,
Mac
yeah.
dash. So there is
Yeah.
no generation. The generation is
Oh, there is
given
because there's Mac
directly.
2. There's Mac 2 dash M2
Yeah, it's fun because there is Mac 2-M2 Pro, which is an old version.
and Mac 2 dash M2. Mac
Yeah.
and there's Mac 1. There's Mac 2.
Yes.
Mac 2 M1 Ultra. Mac 2, but now we're on at Mac M4 Pro and Mac M4. So we've
Yeah.
lost the generation. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So in my opinion, they've decided to go as Mac. They don't control
Yeah,
anything, the naming and how people name them. They
yeah,
just said this is the Mac instance, no generation, and the generation is defined by the CPU and the marketing of Apple.
yeah. Fine.
Which
Okie
is
dokie.
another way to news when it is a third party that in some form or way forces some stuff, so their stuff into AWS data center.
Mm,
Quite
yeah.
interesting.
Right. Visibility. So there's nothing on DB that we found really, nothing on storage. There are some other things that kind of touch on them, but we found better homes for them. And this one is stretching it, isn't it, a little bit, Frank?
Yes.
But it's a bit of a stretchy month, so we'll do it. So public preview, Azure Managed Services for Prometheus now includes native Grafana dashboards within Azure Portal. This initially came out in May 2025. But there were some changes made which we tried to work out. So announcing the Azure Managed Service Prometheus now includes native Grafana dashboards within the Azure portal at no additional cost, and that's why we're calling that out. This integration marks a major milestone in our mission to simplify observability, reducing the administration overhead and complexity compared to deploying and maintaining your own Grafana instances. And obviously the cost of maintaining them as well. Yeah, I think that's as far as I'll go on that one. It was, we wanted something in that space. What's next? Commitments. So a Google bit of news in commitments, which is unusual because there's not lots of changes in Google commitments really, because they keep them. I say they keep them simple. They keep them different. They're simple, but they're different. So for a lot of people, they're complicated. It's around Google Cloud VM Engine. And the announcement is that the CUDs, 3-year CUDs for VM Engine V1 SKUs are now end of sale.
It's VMware because you don't say the word.
Did I say VM? I messed the word. So VMware.
Right.
Sorry, entirely right. VMware. And you know what's interesting enough? I've been doing a load of research on the different VMware services from the 3 providers, and I found the Google one the hardest to work out what was going on. And so this is a little bit FinOpsy, so I will share this slightly. So AWS is one, you pay for some of the control planes as separate bits. So you pay for the metal and then you pay for some control plane stuff. In Azure, you don't. That control plane stuff is included, but takes away from your resource pool. Right, so you're not paying for it separately, but you're kind of still paying for it because you pay for your amount of nodes and it's still taken away there. I cannot work it out on Google.
Something happens.
Yes, something happens. It looks like it's included, but I can't tell how much is taken away from your resource pool, and I don't know if they just give you a free layer. Comparative pricing-wise, they're quite similar, so hard to know. Anyway, what matters here? The VMware Engine VE1 SKU are now end of sale for their 3-year CUDs. There is V2. And they still have 3-year CUDs. And this is because I believe the agreement behind V1, which is a different licensing agreement, etc. And for those who follow this stuff, all of the vendors have had to change how they've done since Broadcom stuff and all this. And we've had a whole episode on that. So this is the previous one, and their contract will be terminated. Will have a time frame on it. So 3-year CUDs are being removed because they will probably out of service this tool, or certainly want to be able to control the price in case they have to start paying whatever they might have to start paying extended support.
And it goes exactly with the next news also, which is roughly the same.
Yes, Azure, yeah, it does, yeah. Azure VM solution, the AV36 node, is retiring on June the 30th, 2028. Microsoft announcing the retirement of the AV36 node. The terms of your AV36 reserved instances are not affected by this announcement. At this time, we recommend that you review your AV36 expiration timeline. I think that was on the 27th. There is stuff I think will be in next month around some of the RI capability, things you can do RIs with in this space. And there are some interesting rules. I think, if my head's right, around Azure, you have to have like 3 of a certain size node before you can ask for the bigger nodes and stuff. It is quite a different area of pricing and licensing to get into. I did some research. I didn't do it justice. I did Steve-O research, which you're very aware of, Frank, which is try to ingest multiple pages within like 20 minutes, and then pretend I was an expert. But
it works. You can connect with all this stuff.
Yeah, the benefit of photographic memory, I suppose. But so I think we're going to see continuous change in this. And well, there's something I can't even talk about at the moment. Hopefully, it'll come out at some point around some VMware stuff and cloud stuff, which could be really interesting once I'm allowed to share that around some of the things that we might see changing in the future. But it's all changed, isn't it, with everything going on with Broadcom and the vendors and all this kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And so it's an interesting space to watch a little bit. Right, let me click a button. Oh, it's me again. Pricing. The main thing we have seen is a general availability in Azure UltraDisk price reduction in Central US and UK South and West US too. Good news for me because I use UK South. Yes, I do.
Yeah, but I found it incredible that it was so specific.
Yeah, it is. It is. Which makes you think it was probably an error previously. Do you think?
Yeah, well, it might be an error, or it might be an agreement, or there is a tax that came. But the US and UK. So if it was just UK, you say, you're absolutely correct. I think there might have been a mistake before. I like it that if that's the case, and price reduction.
Yeah.
But usually you don't do errors anyway. Yeah, it might have been compared to the others.
Yeah. Well, so I'll read this out. So this. I think basically there's been some changes made, and that's why it's come out again. Because again, some of the stuff was from August. UltraDisk is the most important performant block storage option for Azure virtual machines, offering consistent low sub-millisecond latency, extremely high performance, etc. To support customers running these mission-critical workloads, so I've skipped a load here. More cost-effectively, we're reducing the ultra pricing in UK South, and that's all this bit says. And which maybe means it's been changed again. But this is the important bit, right? So UK South, capacity gigabytes, previous pricing, 0.149650. That's remained the same, no discount. Estimated, but the IOPS has reduced by 60%, and the MBPS cost has reduced by 80%, which they think is an overall saving of between 15 and 60%. But it's significant, isn't it? For that bit. And it depends, if you're a heavy IOPS user, then, well, I guess, do you know what that could mean? It could mean that they've made some sort of improvement to the networking between or something, which has given them a price reduction. I don't know.
Could be that. Could be maybe. Also that but you've changed the hardware, or finally the hardware have reached these regions, and they were using a previous generation, even not just disk, but even just a cache or whatever. And you've changed the hardware. I don't know. We would have to check if there was something equivalent in other regions before.
Yeah.
Which I don't know.
I don't know either. We don't track the pricing in the same way, do we? It's hard to do. That's one of the reasons. There's too many price books, or there were too many price books behind the scenes. Yeah. Maybe it's something we could do. Right, I think I've got to press a button again, haven't I?
Oh, and you have tons of presents.
Yeah, do you know what? I made a mistake because I started reading through them and there's less news, right? So then I carried on thinking we were still going. I went into August, and I was like, Frank has got loads to do. And then I realized I was now in August. I was like, this news seems quite familiar. And then, I realized that it's just me. Anyway, here we go. Savings. Yes, I was really unsure of myself there because I was like, have I just done savings? I haven't. Generally available. Bring your own license support for JBoss EAP on Azure App Service. We'll keep this really short. Firstly, for the people that proofread Azure, it states, announce Kong that Azure App Service now supports bring your own license for JBoss Enterprise Application Platform, enabling customers to deploy Java workloads with greater flexibility and cost efficiency. It's interesting, though, because I get mixed up. Part of the Java licensing is per user.
Well, no, but depends. So this one is a enterprise edition. So JBoss is a system for enterprise edition Java. I use it a ton. So it is this kind of. I think the license is not Java. This is JBoss, the application server, with all the bells and whistles. And underneath, you use it. It's all written in Java. Underneath, you can run whatever you want. The interesting thing about enterprise edition of Java, it had an internal DNS. It recreated a microcosmos of enterprise management, which was quite cool. But it was really used a lot. But now, now you're less so.
The final sentence is interesting. If you've evaluated Azure App Service in the past, now is the perfect time to take another look. With Bring Your Own License support, you can leverage your existing Red Hat subscriptions to optimize costs and align with your enterprise licensing strategy. So
JBoss is a Red Hat. So IBM.
Yeah. But Oracle's Java now, right? Sorry, Java's Oracle now, isn't it? Like Java. Yeah. Right, and the next one I have. So that's hopefully some cost savings in there. Generally available at cost. Oh, this one. Oh my goodness. At cost data transfer between Azure and an external endpoint. Some people have seen that Frank has spoken about this one. I believe it was on LinkedIn. You brought this one up.
Yes.
Yeah. In the document, there is a link on the words at cost. So it says Azure now offers at cost data transfer for customers and CSP partners in Europe, transferring data via the internet between Azure to another processing service provider. Unfortunately, the link to at cost doesn't work, so the definition is tricky. But this is basically part of the European Economic Area. So it's part of that. It's part of the law, the stuff basically put in by the EU and the European Fair Trade Association, all these kind of things. And the UK are part of it, where they're basically trying to scrap cost for exiting. It's egress costs being removed. The shame is that if your application is built to transfer data cross-cloud, please follow these steps to contact Azure support to claim a credit. Please be aware of the eligibility requirements for this credit. And it's a bunch of steps. But hopefully once it's done. Hopefully it's like a rolling thing. I haven't looked into that bit yet. But there we go. That is that one.
Well, that's where you see that sometimes you just do whatever is required by the legal requirement, and you make it as complicated as possible, keeping in those boundaries, which is part of almost of the game. But then
right, press button now, isn't it?
Yeah.
FinOps General, and this will be the last one I do for a couple. Woohoo for everybody listening. Right, this is the Azure Machine Learning. Azure Machine Learning data labeling deprecation. I was going to say machine labeling, but that is a very different thing. On September the 30th, 2026, Azure Machine Data Labeling will be retired, and you need to please transition to third-party data labeling providers by the 30th of September 2026. From today to the 30th of September 2026, you can continue to use data labeling without any disruption, but on the 30th of September 2026, workloads running data labeling will be deleted and associated application data will be lost. Recommended action: to avoid service disruptions, please migrate the existing data labeling workloads to third-party providers. Once labeled data is generated, copy the labeled data into Azure Machine Learning storage account for further pre-processing or model training as required.
Here we go. But
do you know what that means?
Well, tagging is when you show an ML model, you take an image or you show an image, you say this is a table, this is this is that. the question is, was it done manually or not? What are they really closing is unclear to me, because
Yeah, I
I
agree.
don't think that destroying ML, their ML offering, guess not, especially that now it's still in fashion.
Yeah.
But yeah, but what was impressive is usually Azure tells you 3 years in advance, hey, this is closing in 3 years' time. This is closing,
Not
and in
always.
this case, no, in this case, 1 year. It's good
Yeah.
luck.
Well, we had the same when they said they were getting rid of exchanges and stuff. You remember for the RIs? I think that was 6 months. Or was it a year
Yeah,
first? I can't remember.
yeah, that was following. Yes.
Yeah. Indeed.
And now it's mine for your and it's quite fun because AWS Transform Assessment now includes okay,
Yeah. It
mistake.
always existed, but now they've added something.
Yeah, no, but yeah, it's AWS Transform Assessment. Okay, it's considered a service because they were includes now the assessments. Sorry, it was my grammar, my
I
English
see.
grammar guide thinking. So includes detached storage. So AWS Transform extended
Analysis.
assessment.
It includes the data storage analysis.
Okay. Oh yeah, I don't have analysis in the main article,
Oh,
which is brilliant.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Helping customer analyze the on-premise detached storage infrastructure and determine the total cost of ownership for migrating to AWS. So I thought AWS Transform was an agentic AI system for transforming .NET mainframe and VMware workloads. So this is an extension that will look at your detached storage, exactly how I'm not sure, but will include that into your total cost of ownership for migrating to AWS. I
I
admit that
guess,
I always worried slightly when you mark your own homework.
yeah.
I
I
think this is going to
guess
cost
you'll
less.
install an appliance. Yeah,
But
exactly. Guess you must install an appliance on the network to find it. That's all I can guess.
I guess it's you need to connect. I don't know. Or
But
detached, meaning that it's not a server, so you can
yeah,
you can probably use the console of the storage system maybe, or
maybe.
the SNMP anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
It's interesting they're saying that with storage accounting for up to 45% of total migration opportunities. AWS Transform Assessment helps customers visualize the benefits of different AWS migration options. I just think that's really interesting. Does that say to you that 45% of the migrations that people are looking at are because of storage, or is it that the ones that are going through Transform?
I think there is I don't know, but
Yeah,
when you say storage, I think gravity and I think priority. There was a
true.
very nice talk recently from one of the AWS strategists, and he highlights it. There are 7 R's, but he said really in the end there is one, which is and you could say there was no factoring is too complicated, refactoring is too complicated. And really, the message was do lift and shift and then start immediately refactor. And I was there. Ooh, that's an interesting message. So, by the way, tons on that presentation by Jack, I think tons of really, really good stuff. I'm going to write tons of article on this, but you could really see the pressure of saying, yeah, move fast
Yeah,
on the other side as the conclusion, which was slightly a pity because the rest was really well articulated, or what you need to do to succeed in an AWS migration, that how you involve other people. So it was really well done. I try to figure out where the link is for the recording. But yeah, the end was a little underwhelming for me because I was not wearing my lift and shift
shift hat.
Eric
Oh
t-shirt.
yeah.
It
I,
was in
I
my head.
I'm not wearing that today. Actually, I was thinking I'd had it on, but yeah. Good old Eric, who was our last guest. And if people haven't listened to that episode about debunking the iron triangle,
Yeah.
you should. He was brilliant. He is brilliant,
Yes.
isn't he? That'd be why he was good.
Yes.
Who's this one?
So next one is mine. Is measuring the effectiveness of software development tools and practices. New cost to serve software metric. Cost to serve software. It's a new metric that accounts for the full software development lifecycle that helps determine which software development innovation provide quantifiable value. And I still
Wow.
need to read it. Let's be very clear. But I was very intrigued by the idea of AWS providing a way to calculate costs if you want. So number of software delivered units. So you have the cost at the top, so development infrastructure costs, development costs, and underneath you have the number of software delivery units. So there is probably a definition of delivery unit,
Yeah.
but it's an article where there are also some very interesting equations in there that look complicated, but they're probably not. But yeah, it is interesting. It's in Amazon Science. So yeah, I was surprised and interested because I think it's always a problem we have is how much value does IT and in this case development bring? So that's why I included it.
It's a big problem in the AI space, isn't it? Understanding the value that's coming out of it
Yes.
from the work that's going on. I found a new metric called LCOAI, levelized costs of AI. It's used in as a thing for hydrogen as well, and so it's come out of a bit of thing. Cornell University, I think it was. I found it. There's a paper released in August. I thought it was an interesting metric, but in a similar way, it includes the cost of the development to then work out the overall.
Well, I think we'll never know exactly the cost of it. It's subsidized. It's so much subsidized today.
But it's often it is. But the cost of running it internally, right? You can work out what you're being charged, but working out the value of what you're doing is really challenging because what are you replacing, right? And are you measuring the cost of what you're changing? And most people aren't. Anyway,
and did you know what was the value of what you had before?
Exactly. Yeah, you're 100% right. Right, magic button. Sustainability. You know when you look at one, Frank, and you think, I really don't remember this one. And what really helps with this is that the link to it from it is in no way helpful. So here's the headline. Cortex Framework one-click deployer now deploys sustainability module when SAP ECC or S4 is selected. That's why it's in sustainable states. It then links you, when you go to the link it gives you, to something called integration with Dun & Bradstreet. This page explains how to integrate D&B environmental, social, and governance ESG data with your existing SAP supplier performance data within the Cortex Framework Data Foundation. And then there's a big guide. So basically, if you want to get D&B ESG data, you can now do it as part of the one-click deployer.
In your SAP.
For SAP, for ECC and I'm not going to go into this detail. I always say this. I generally find the guide documentation and the blog guides from GCP from Google Cloud are very good. What I will say recently is it feels to me that if there's a service that maybe they haven't built or has been built for them or they've outsourced, you can tell by the quality of the documentation. And I'll leave that with people who are Google users. And that might, because I know that some services that feel like they might be Google aren't because of some of my background. Like they're being run by other parties, which is very normal, by the way, people. That's not a massive surprise that those things happen. But you can actually tell in the documentation, I think, as to who's.
That's interesting.
Yeah. It's just something I noticed this week while I was doing some research. Right, there we go.
It's the silly miscellaneous, and there are 3, and they're mine.
Thank goodness.
So the first one was a new region, an AWS Asia Pacific New Zealand region. And
wonderful.
so it's AP Southeast 6. And in particular, it was because ages ago, I had a talk in Seattle by a colleague, ambassador, who is from, and he said, well, we need to connect to Australia, but let's be clear, it's far, far away. Even Australia, it looks close on the map. It's not. The latency is always there. And so when I read this, he would say, oh, that's brilliant. I sent him a message and thought it was worth it. This is a new full region. And it is, I think, reasonably important. They had something before, but it was just, the sub kind of regions of AWS, but now they really made it work. So that's cool. The next one is announcing Amazon ECS managed instances for containerized applications. Why did I put that in? I have no clue. So it's a new compute option for ECS. that enables developers to use a full range of Amazon EC2 capabilities while offloading infrastructure management to AWS. So it is like you can use ECS with EC2, but you don't have to manage the EC2s. Instead of, so it's between Fargate and EC2. That's interesting. What I think is very interesting is I thought with Fargate they were moving way towards removing almost EC2 in the options, while in this case they seem to be bringing it back, which means that you might be able to save some money with commitments, which is always welcome. So, full managed container compute environment that support a broad range of EC2 instance type and deep integration with AWS services. By default, it automatically selects the most cost-optimized EC2 instance for your workload, but you can specify particular instance attribute or type when needed. AWS handles all aspects of infrastructure management, including provisioning, scaling, security patching, and cost optimization, enabling you to concentrate on building and running your applications. I think that's always the basic sentence they add at every end. Last but not least, or maybe also least, by the way, but it was an article on Medium that I saw, which was about the cold start billing. So the cold season is I think it was, and there are some important things. So AWS Lambda cold start billing changes. So I'm pretty sure it's not new, but it was in August. But I think it was interesting. Is until the 1st of August 2025, init was non-billable, was a gift from AWS when you were not the cold start period. You would not pay, and that's it. Now you start to pay. And I thought that was also relevant, so you can see how old we are, but from the or late we are to deliver this pod. There was a block on US East 1 very recently.
Yep.
And the thing that someone, I think this morning, was showing that they had a spike in their Lambda bill around, and I was there saying, well, if
it was a
Lambda,
DynamoDB issue, wasn't it? Because they used DynamoDB
DNS
internally.
issue, the automation of DNS issue that crashed DynamoDB, but DynamoDB is used by EC2 to coordinate.
Know what it speaks to, yeah.
The instances, someone was writing that the instances of EC2 were coming up, then marked as unhealthy, and then turned down. And my question is, if that was happening also for Firecracker, which is the underlying thing for Lambda,
yeah.
Things were coming up, unhealthy, brought down, but you pay that in it since the 1st of August. And so someone, I don't know if it's true, whatever, but I've just seen a graph and it showed that there was a spike in Lambda cost on the day of the catastrophe. And so it is quite interesting. And I've decided not to do like everyone bash everything or everyone. I'm going to write a short article that's going to come soon of networking for FinOps people, to understand that, guys, that roughly 5 or 6 out of 7 layers are based on technology from 1960.
Yeah.
And we cram everything in the last one.
Yeah.
And so we're still there, but anyway, that is the things of today.
Still I thought we were going to fly through it, but and we haven't gone down too many rabbit holes, and it's still a good amount of time. Perfect. Well, thank you very much, Frank, and thank you everybody for listening. And like I said before, if anyone has any topics they want to come speak to us about, please do come and join us on the podcast. The final thing is, what's new in Cloud FinOps is 5 years old.
Woohoo! Yes.
Yeah. As of the 6th of October. Yeah. Which seems staggering, doesn't it?
Yes.
Absolutely
it is
staggering.
madness.
It's madness.
Positive madness.
Positive madness. Yeah, it's really refreshing to hit the 5-year mark. I, when we just started this as a thing, I never thought that would happen, but there we go. Well, the longest running podcast in FinOps, I think.
Yes, probably by far, and I think we need to. So if you are listeners, please spread the word, because we're really bad at.
Oh yeah, we really should start doing some promotion stuff.
We should start showing it out from others that listen. I said to people, I was in Amsterdam for the FinOps thing in Europe, and I say, "How do you? Yeah, what's in Cloud FinOps?" I don't know. Only hardcore FinOps people would absolutely recognize it. all the new people know. So I think we should try to be.
We'll try to do some promo.
Come on, you are the expert in marketing.
I am. Yeah, I am. And anyone that's ever worked with me in a marketing context will be laughing their heads off at that comment. But comparatively, I guess I know a bit more about marketing than you do. So I will try to do some stuff.
Well, you tell me what I'm supposed to do.
We had
Okay.
best play plans, didn't we? We had all sorts of plans for promoting, and we just never get around to it. We
Yes.
make sure we record them eventually, and that is the main focus. Perfect. Well, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, Frank, for your wonderful work. You've done all the work again this month, so thank you very much. And we look forward to speaking to you all very soon. Have a great holiday, Frank.
Thank you, everyone. And yeah, I will enjoy my holiday in the north of England. Let's see how that goes. Bye.
Bye.